do the best job as possible. So I think he is the best guy at the moment for the job, for sure.
Fair enough. All right. He's, of course, got that popular choice as well from not just a nation perspective, but from the world perspective. I think everyone's kind of giving him a thumbs up. Let me come to Arvind right now. The fact that he did stress upon a relationship which he had as captain that he shared with Jagmohan Dalmia at the time when he was, of course, captaining India in his heyday. What do you make of his relationship as such with Virat Kohli? Because, of course, he's always been pro-Kohli in terms of not just now, but even back as a youngster. He was always pipping Virat Kohli to be the next best thing. With Virat being at the helm and Ganguly being there, it's a match made in heaven, or is that deceiving the eye?
It's definitely something good for the Indian team because Ganguly is a player himself, and he's in fact the first BCCI president after 65 years. Former player taking charge as the BCCI president. The previous was the Maharaja of Vizianagaram. So there is already, he understands the problems of the players and he knows what they want. And he's already declared that he will not go for dual captaincy.
Correct.
There was talk about having two captains, one being Virat Kohli and the other being Rohit Sharma. He said a definite no for that. So we can already see that the relationship between the top man of the Indian cricket team and the BCCI chief is already on a positive note just on the day that the BCCI president takes charge for a 9-month period.
Correct.
I just feel, although the relationship is good, the period is too short and we don't have any major tournament coming up during this 10-month period to actually test whether such a combination will do wonders for the Indian team.
All right, maybe too short, says Arvind over there. But, of course, last week, ladies and gentlemen, we hinted upon what Ganguly's traits are, what he is as a man, and what he just brings to the table. Now, we're not going to talk about that in this discussion. What we're going to do is pick out a certain amount of things that takeaways, key takeaways, if you like, from that press conference. And maybe some of the issues he'd like to tackle earlier upon. Now, one big issue is, of course, not just in India right now, but world cricket, and that's the longest format of the game. I'm talking about Test cricket, in particular day-night cricket. Hasn't happened in India yet, and I'd love to get the perspective of the guests on board today. But before that, let me play out a clip from Virat Kohli in the press conference that he addressed in Ranchi after that, of course, thumping series win. And he hinted that it should just be 5 test centres for India going forward. Let's play that out before we get cracking with our discussion again.
We've been discussing this for a long time now, and in my opinion, we should have 5 test centres, period. I mean, I agree that, state associations, rotation and, giving games and all that, that is fine for T20 and one-day cricket, but Test cricket, teams coming into India should know we're going to play at these 5 centres. These are the pitches we're going to expect. These are the kind of people they're going to come to watch, crowds, so that becomes a challenge already when you're leaving the shores, because we go to any place, we know we're having 4 test matches in these venues. This is what the pitch is going to offer. It's going to be full stadium, the crowds behind the team, and look, you want to keep Test cricket alive and exciting. I totally agree with the fact that we need 5 test centres at max.
Alluding to a few points pertaining to Test cricket, of course. Now, of course, I just want to get your perspective and start with Arvind over there. Are you happy with the fact that he said that? Do you think that'll be a good move? Because we've seen it in Test cricket generally. When we know we're going to tour Australia, we know that the first Test will be Brisbane, followed by MCG and Boxing Day, and then the Sydney Test match and post-New Year's. Do you like it to be like that? And does it make it easier for oppositions touring India in the future?
From a player's perspective, I get where he's coming from.
Okay.
But every state association would like to host its own matches. Now, how would you tell a state association that sorry, we can't come to Ranchi, or sorry, we can't come to Raipur or Jaipur, anywhere else?
Correct.
What are these 5 test centers that are going to be? We need to figure that out. And on what basis would they be decided? Would it be legacy? Would it be tradition? If we figure out all these tiny details, then we could have a system where everyone's agreeing with it, because after all, the organization will be done by the local state body. It's not that the BCCI would allot it to the state body and the execution would be left to the state association. So you have good centers in Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata, but would it leave out the other centers? Would they feel bad about it? This is what is going to be the most biggest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a two-sided coin, isn't it? Because the fact that they're trying for the a bigger purpose of getting more crowds to Test cricket. Of course, that's been waning in international cricket generally, not just in India. But maybe day and night cricket, like Ganguly hinted in that press conference, could just revive the longer format of the game. Mr. Reddy, your thoughts on that in terms of the 5 Test centres? And more importantly, do you think Ganguly will align his thoughts with Virat's?
I don't think Ganguly would agree with that. Because
Okay.
they say the fundamental couple of first liners in today's Ganguly's talk with the media, he said equal all, all are equal. And the other thing is, you cannot compare a Test centre to have crowd, coming in for 5 days.
Correct.
And Test cricket is entirely different from the class of cricket. It's a class of cricket where you're talking about technique, and a lot of followers are there. There's a lot of media. It's worldwide, there are 120 countries playing cricket.
Yeah.
You don't have to have 25,000 people, hashed up there in one stadium.
Yeah.
What I would prefer, or maybe Ganguly would be definitely thinking about it on, it will be unnatural, it will be unfaithful and unfair on the other associations. Suppose Ganguly wants to pick the top 5 where the crowd comes. Can you guarantee, even if it is held in Bombay, the crowd can come from 5 days if it's a working day? No.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee.
No
It
guarantee.
should not look at the crowds coming in. It should look at the quality and standard of the cricket, pitches, the ground, the maintenance, the management, and all those aspects are there. If I am watching cricket for 5 days, I would be sitting at my office. I would be sitting and driving in a car.
Yeah.
I can be somewhere in my resort club or somewhere, and
Correct,
still
yeah.
I'll be enjoying.
Yeah.
Don't have to have 25,000 people coming in, filled up in the. That's a wrong idea actually.
Yeah.
And you cannot say that there's the 5 top centers. Suppose if you see the pitch is prepared well for 5 days. For the first 3 days if it is playing for the batsman, and then the last 2 days it is for the spinners. That's going to be dangerous.
Correct.
And if these Australian team or South African team is touring India and they know that these are the 5 Test centers and these are the 5 pitches,
So they prepare
they're
more.
prepared,
Yeah, of
and
course.
you'll be locked down.
Yeah, because you
it's not a
never
good
know,
idea.
because when the FTP comes up by the ICC and of course in cordial with the BCCI, you could be playing in Kanpur, Jaipur. That's the brilliance of India really, because we have so many stadiums. It's remarkable to see how even Trivandrum, of course, I think we played West Indies there last year, we got many stadiums, but now we're kind of deviating from this topic. And Priyanka, I'll come to you because I heard you snigger with regards to this Test cricket and being played in India. Ganguly did mention it, the fact that he wants to take Test cricket forward. He thinks the day-night Test cricket in India could be the answer, because we've seen it work brilliantly with the IPL. Of course, it's not the same model, but what he means by that is the fact that it does elongate into the night hours, so it gives that little bit of time to the crowds to probably come and flock to the stadiums. Your thoughts about all of this?
I mean, yeah, I think what Arvind and the other guests were saying, I think I picked and chosen a couple of points that I agree and disagree on.
Okay.
I do actually want, and I hope that Ganguly goes for those 5 Test centers, because, I mean, as a tennis player, it's like saying Wimbledon will now be held in Scotland. It just doesn't work that way. But if we have 5 standard Test centers, the tennis tournament goes on for 2 weeks. A Grand Slam.
I think
goes
it's
on for
unfair
2
to
weeks.
draw the
So you
comparison
can't
to another
possibly
sport.
say that just
Maybe
because-
we would take a example out of
I'm
the
not trying
Ashes.
to- I'm
For
not
example,
trying
the
to
Ashes,
compare,
because now
but what
the
I'm-
Ashes, for
yeah,
example.
But what I'm trying to
Sure,
Avnish,
go
what
on.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
say is basically, even if it's a multi-day tournament and if it's a longer form tournament, my point was that basically, crowds will flock if there are those standard centers, and it's a way to monetize the sport.
Correct.
So I think in terms of the players, it becomes more predictable. The pitch, as Virat was saying, becomes more predictable. Players know what they're going in for.
Okay.
I mean, as if you want to make a comparison, a grass court is always going to be a grass court.
Okay.
So, and a cricket pitch in one location is always going to be the same or as predictable as possible. So I do hope that he does. I don't know if he'll have enough time in the months that he has as president, but I do hope that he at least sets the precedent for those 5 standard centers, because it will draw more crowd than if you're just having it in all different locations.
I got a point.
Let me just come to Mr. Reddy, but before that, Mr. Ashwa, do you agree with her?
Yeah, there are 3 things. I mean, I blatantly disagree with what Priyanka
Oh,
says, though.
blatantly
But
is a
there
good
are
word.
three things that I want to say.
Blatantly.
Yeah,
Go on.
one thing was Pune, if you're talking about grass court being a grass court,
Yeah.
Pune versus Australia was a square turner, like a mud slug.
Yeah,
And the other day, the one that we played was a complete English pitch.
yeah.
That was the difference between Wimbledon's grass and Scotland's grass, probably, which being the same. Anyways, the second thing is that I see more crowd in Hyderabad than Bombay in terms of Test cricket viewership.
Correct.
And nowadays, if I am not wrong, the ticketing goes not more than single digit crores.
Correct.
Whereas that the main income